when you're repairing doors, one of the most critical things to remember, you always want to know what is holding everything together. Okay, you've got the cables are connected to the bracket, which is connected to the section, connected to the cable guns. Now, if you cut a cable, right now, the cables are pulling evenly on both sides. If you cut a cable on one side, what would happen? The side would fall. What would happen to that side? It would stay up and pull up more. It would bind because take the tension off of this one, 150 pounds off of this one, you cut that, you got 300 pounds pulling over there. So the door will cock. A lot of times what will happen is, if you, a lot of times you get called out on the door, big cocks like that. More often than not, the cable has come off the drum. For example, if this comes down, you got something under here. It'll pitch the door a little bit, and then this cable comes loose over here. That happens a lot. They've got a block of wood. Something happens on the door, and if the cable comes off, you always want to find out why. Because if you put the cable back on, you'll be back the next day because you didn't ask why. But you always want to know. I'll give you an example of what can happen. Let's suppose you've got a wood door, and this board cut. Something happens, they hit a door, they hit it. Sometimes the old wood doors have junctions and spliced together. So the door will separate. And then you put here, so all the tension goes out here and will cause it to bind. Now if you take the bottom fixture off, like I had one guy did once, one of my customers, the bottom fixture flew up and hit him in the face. He got about 16 stitches. So you never take the bottom fixture off unless you're dealt with it. You gotta deal with the spring tension. We can show you some different ways to deal with it. So you've got basically a closed system. If anything malfunctions, let's suppose you get somewhere and the door's stuck halfway. Okay, you have the weight of the door and you have spring tension. You always want to know if the door is up, what's holding the door up. You don't do anything until you know what's holding the door up. Sometimes the most dangerous situation is that the door is all the way up. The cables have come off. Then the bottom of the door is catching on the junction of the track up there. Let me see if I can see it. They're right here. See that right there? Yeah. Sometimes the cables will come off and the bottom bracket will catch on a little junction, a little piece of track that's sticking out. So you get there, you sneeze and the door crashes. You got to know what's holding it, especially with the jack shaft openers like this here. This opener does not push and pull the door. This opener just turns the shaft. When you open it, you can see that chain right there. It's got a sprocket. We'll install one of these little ladies. It's got the sprocket that turns the chain, which turns another sprocket that's at the end of the shaft here. What's called a jack shaft operator. It just turns the shaft to open and close the door. And the danger of this type of system, and you have to have it on a vertical lift, high lift door, like we'll talk about the different lifts. But you turn the shaft, and the danger that you run into, this company too, if you've got just a piece of wood, that kind of door, but you run that. I'm gonna, what's this cable here? I'm gonna prevent this from messing up. This cable is gonna come loose. Now it's not gonna come off the drum because I'm gonna pull on it. See this right here? See that cable is loose. And it's not loose enough that if I turned, I stopped it because that's not all the way down there. Let's see that? The cable is loose. Now, if I hadn't held that, it would come off the cable drum up there. See, I'm holding the cable on the drum. And that is probably the most common cause of cables coming off from commercial doors. You also see it on residential doors. Something's under the door, it comes down, hits it, the cable comes loose. So you always want to know it's all part of a mechanical system. Do you like fixing things? You work on your car and stuff like that? You put a mechanical in. You always want to understand the mechanics of things. One thing controls something else. You have to work, sometimes you have to work back 3 or 4 times, especially if you're troubleshooting. The most difficult, most challenging part of troubleshooting, I think, is figuring out what causes the cable to come off. You just put it back on, everything works fine, next day you're back. You gotta go back, you gotta ask questions. If you're in a factory, you gotta ask questions. If you're at home, you gotta try to find out why that cable came off.